It's an absolute pleasure to have you, every single one here today joining us. I want to thank you to make the effort to make it today because it's still 11 o'clock and you feel like a little bit sleepy. So can I have a bit of applause? So how many of you? Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad. It's already the second week since school starts and I'm already sick of it because it is me who's waking every single morning to drive off my kids to the school, not actually the kids go to the school. So I'm not a morning person, so I have to wake every single morning, like 5 days a week, 5:30, 6 in the a.m., to pick them and drive them off to the school. So I would like to kick off my speech with me. This cute, yeah, thank you for the laugh, thank you. Yeah, that actually me. So this is me, little boy, full of imagination. Life was simple then. It was not that complex as we had today. So it was just like school, friends, and of course a world that I saw through my inexperienced eyes. And I didn't have no much, it's just like this little circle. As I got into my 5th class, I start to hate school. Raise your hand if you did, please, so I don't feel alone. Did you hate the school as well? See one. Only one, too. I mean, you're lying. Who's ever loving the school? Okay. So naturally, I did what every single kid would did with a vivid imagination. I started spreading a rumor to my friends, and I started telling them they're gonna cut one day off the school. And you know what? They believed me. And you know why? Because I always looked like this Italian gentleman with this loafer in my leg. So I said, we're not gonna have 60 days, because back then I had 60 days of school a week. I said, we're gonna have like 5 days a week. And they believed me. And actually one of my friends didn't make it to the next day. So that was then. So naturally, I just like they made it. But things, something changed later in the life, and as I got older and learned more about the technology in particular, when the first I heard the word artificial intelligence and it became a buzzword that being used by every single person, I started to see the world a bit different. It's not anymore that they're gonna cut one day off the school, and actually I start seeing like, we're not longer having like this 7 days a week, but we're having actually 2 more days a week. I have no idea where these ideas came from. By the way, they are generated by ChatGPT. Just like I knew there's 9 days a week. Because suddenly the possibilities seem to be endless, and we had a lot of the obvious of the productivity and on our time and how AI evolved and came into our life and saving a lot of our life. If we look back at the early 2000s, the concepts of AR and software development was very rudimentary compared to what we have as of today. But then the focus was on basic automation. We had simple tools that could help us repetitive tasks such as building automation, linters, syntax errors, and oh man, I need to fix all this by my own hands. And just like enforce the standards that was predefined by a human being, whether it's a senior developer and whoever, the whole team all together. These early tools, by the way, these early tools were helpful, I'm sorry, I got confused because I see the screen and the slide was a bit different. So I'm sorry, I had a question, but I'm gonna keep it to the next slide. These early tools were helpful, but far, far from being intelligent, because it's just like taking some instructions and just like being applied, it does what you want it to be doing. And it became the essential elementing some of the tedious aspects of coding for developers. So we being used it was saving us time, but we were spending more time being configured these tools for us. At the time when the development environment started to become so more sophisticated, does anyone use Node++ in coding? Love you, love you. I mean, I will find you on LinkedIn and I will follow you. I actually, back then, I was teaching in one of the IT schools, and when the students started asking me which is the best code editor that I need to be using, and I said Notepad++, and they was looking at me like a freaking out. I mean, like, there is like JetBrains and VS Code, a lot of extension, the auto-completion that could be helping us doing better, but I said, if you want to learn something, do it by your own. As far as you are solid with understanding how you do it, then move with whatever automation tool that is better for you. So around the mid-20s, we start seeing the rise of IDEs become more the central hub for the development environment. It was not just like coding, it was testing, debugging, and you could remotely share it with another colleague or another team member and working on the same piece of code or finding a problem or having a solution on the same environment altogether. And it all started to be simple tasks back then in the mid-20s. One key development was the completion. By the 2010s, IDEs began integrating machine learning with the tools like GitHub Copilot. Who start using GitHub Copilot when it's just like very came out to the market? Yeah. So that was the beginning of it. And it was giving you actually predicting code based on the given context and pasting pattern. Other tools also provided deeper insights and performance. There are other tool that was called Tab9. It was integrated into Sublime, I believe, one of the editors. And it was helping actually developer write more efficient codes, because it was acting like Stack Overflow. You see the piece of code and go and find there is a problem, and you just like trying to implement and work out your code that could look more efficient. These tools, as I mentioned, it was learning from millions of lines of actual code, providing not just like technically correct, but actually industry-aligned solution. Despite this, these still rely on pattern and rules by human. The creativity and the problem solving remain with the developer, so it still needs a human being. Highlighting that these tools are powerful extension, but are not a replacement for the intelligent or the human intelligence itself. AI-powered tools have dramatically changed. So as I mentioned, the GitHub Copilot, it was still learning. It was just like a kid in the beginning, but that changed now. Now, can you imagine how much time do you spend in the office from the benefit itself? Think of how much time you would be used to spend manually typing the code, carefully ensuring that your leader, the freaky one who's asking you to use tabs and you're using space and you have to go and roll it back down. So today's AI tools like that, like an extra hands that could help fill in those gaps. The previous talk was done by Alexei. He's actually the CEO of Gurtam, and he also always been saying, think of AI as one extra person in your team that could be helping you. Actually, he's saying something else like slavery, but I'm not gonna say slavery, so don't notice it, I didn't say it. So yeah, he's actually would be helping doing you something, so could be one of the benefits. AI tools can help restructure the code and make it more efficient without changing its functionality. This is very important, so it's no longer an automation tool that as we used to use it before. This means they recognize the actual pattern that you give it to them. They can offer way to simple fix the code, reduce redundancy, or improve its performance. For example, they might suggest turning a series of nested if-else. As we all know, all AI tools behind the scene, they are all if-else, if-else, if-else. This is not true. This is what we used to think of the AI and how it works. This kind of insight can dramatically improve the code quality, especially if project grow in complexity. Also, and as we all know, the repetitive task, the boring part, I do remember we were spending at least 2 weeks when we starting greenfield or starting a new project trying to have the initial configuration that would take us 2 weeks. This wasn't even a development because it's just like a boring and none of us wanted to do it. So AI nowadays grant that handle the automation of this such of boring and the ban for the developers extends. So there is no longer needed for this manually to write the same lines and set up the configuration over and over. Instead, if AI can generate it for you, back then we had the tools that could actually generate these integration and the configuration for whatever project that we needed. But those are based on the predefined patterns and rule that was provided by us. Nowadays, that could be done, of course, by the AI itself. It's something that came up a lot when people talk about AI in software development, that there is fear of AI that going to replace developer. I would want to be honest. I want to go back, having my chicken, a couple of cows, I would say, and just like live the life. I don't want a more AI or software development. But this is not true. If we break it down and to make this distinction clear, why this is, at least this is not gonna happen in the next few decades. This is not gonna happen. Think of AI like Copilot or Tabline, as I mentioned, for the subline. They are extremely good at suggesting codes, snippets, auto-completing function, and even generating larger chunk of code that providing for you. However, they don't understand the code at deeper level, so they are only one piece. It's just like you're having a new junior that joined your team, and you are the senior or the team lead who's all aware of all the business and its aspect. And when they started doing something, they suggested, it is right, but this does not fit the business itself. So it doesn't have the whole understanding of what's going on. They are really great, the AI tools are really great at filling the blanks, but not creating something from scratch that aligns with your unique visions and needs. AI works like recognizing pattern in existing data. So if there is no data, there is no AI. I do believe in that because of the LLM. And the approach is with the idea and so on. So if you don't provide it with the data, it can come up with an idea that unique as you would have or receive from a human being. The intelligence itself came from the developer, and while AI tools just like help execute that task more efficiently, in fact, far from replacing developers, AI tools are actually helping elevate their roles. Soon, it's actually not soon, it's already happening now. You will find a lot of the job descriptions that there is some skills that is required that you need to cope and understand and how to work with AI. One of the example, if you go, there is that checkbox like CAPTCHA in Google, and it's asking you, are you a robot? And just like you have to check it, so you are not actually a robot. One of the biggest misunderstandings surrounding in AI software development, that somehow it is intelligent in the way that the humans are, but the grasp and the reality is what actually AI does. It is important to remember that software at its core, nothing more or less rather than some operation with ones and zeros, regardless the data and what kind of data and what kind of the result, it is still operation behind the scene and under the hood that is going just like any other software that is happening. And it just like performance, the exact task that you're asking for to perform it. In other words, software follows the rule. It's exactly what it is told to do down the most basic level of operation, even if AI, despite the term artificial intelligence, doesn't have real intelligence itself. It doesn't think or understand the reason in the process based on algorithm or pattern for developer or human. We, us as engineers, whenever we're doing something, we do have understand of the end user that we're building the solution for. We have ethics before we're having any kind of decision that we're making, and we're making sure that this ethics doesn't harm by any means, or whatever we're doing doesn't harm the actual end users. So AI actually doesn't even care about these ethics. It's just like giving you you give it in and it gives you out. So AI can recognize trends and make prediction. Of course, it can and offer suggestions, but it's all based on given data and predefined models, not any kind of self-awareness or independent thoughts. It is most fundamental level of any software. At a broader societal level, the public tends to overestimate what AI can do. It can do a lot. It can predict. It can augment your voice, the way you look. It can do video with all your terms and the way you are speaking, your way you're talking, and so on and so forth. But in software in itself, I honestly see like kind of overestimating of what is happening. There is this idea that AI will soon be able to handle everything from writing software to managing the entire business process autonomously. I mean, in the previous talk, we had this great question to Alexei. It was about the technical tasks that we had. I mean, how many of you do agree that AI can handle hundreds of technical debt in the backlog that been there for decades and no one do it? Can you raise your hand if you believe AI can handle tech debt? And decide, can you? One, exactly, only one person. You are, I mean, like positive. That is great, to be honest. If there is a way that can do it, I'm fine. I will just like go and have my cup of coffee and I will relax. It is great for handling certain tasks within specific parameter that should be given. So if we give it a specific parameters, it could be doing that, to be honest, but in general, it actually cannot. So it's not capable of understanding or adapting a complex or shifting goals without a human being. How many times any of you been working on one task that you've been heard, this should be done by yesterday? And while you are doing it, the manager came to you, hey, pause in this task. There's another task that should be done last month. Yeah, I mean, don't be shy. Do you think AI can handle this? I mean, no, it can't. It can't. I mean, ChatGPT recently did this feature that remember memory or something like that. But it can't shift. It can't shift between these. Even when AI help with tasks like generating code or refactoring, recently the IDEs been providing perfect tools and essential tools for refactoring and the code generation. It's like operating within predicted framework, so it's having the actual framework or the enough context of the project that giving you all of these. It doesn't understand the broader objectives of the project itself from business point of view. I'm a technical business-oriented person, so if I don't understand the business itself, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing on the project that I'm working with. All those decisions require human judgment, which is informed by creativity, experience, and deep understanding of the project goals itself. Furthermore, AI struggles with tasks that require deep understanding of context. For instance, it might suggest something that out of the context. How many of you worked with junior engineers? Yeah, great. Do you know that feeling when you start from your experience, start explaining something to them, and it seems way too easy for you, and you start to look at them carefully, and you see in their ears goes red, and their eyes start slowly to go as like gradient red, and their hair a bit like standing, and he's saying, can we have a break, please? Because I'm already lost of the context and what you're talking about. Exactly the same like this one. So in the 80s, there used to be a program that done by programs to build the programs with interface based on the given parameters. But by the end of the way, it was giving you the output that still needed some modification to have an excellent output or results. This is what I would just like mention. However, these tools were limited, producing inefficient and clunky software that required skilled configuration. So there was something like this in the 80s. And instead of eliminating the needs for developers, they become complementary tools, and demand for programmers grew. And this mirrors today AI, the landscape itself. While AI assists with coding and automated tasks, it still requires human creativity and expertise. And the very basic examples of this, if you give it very bad prompt, you will get very bad results. If you are using very weak model, you will get weak results. If you are choosing higher model or efficient model, and you are excellent and prompt, then you will get the result itself. So it still need this as well. The challenge from my point of view is how to use AI wisely in the development environment in general. Developers need to recognize where they can save, AI can save time for them and the energy, but they also need to maintain the control over the creative strategic element of their work. It is about balance, letting AI take care of the routine tasks, the boring part of our job that we had to do because we know we all had to do, and the innovative part, because I do believe us as a developer, it's our role in life is not having this I believe you will understand what I'm saying. So imagine this is Scrum board. Anyway, so you're having these 3 columns, that backlog in progress, to do, done, whatever, that is goes to the trash right after. Our job is not moving these cards or this task from one column to another. Our job as an engineer is to provide solution to problems that exist. AI can help elevate with that, but we have to have our own input. So this is one of my opinion that we have to have this partnership. When we talk about the future of AI in software development, we're really looking at how AI will continue to evolve and powerful tool, not something that replaces the developer, but something that amplifies the capabilities of these developers. The focus will be on deeper collaboration between human intelligence and AI-powered tool. I would not say intelligence, but AI-powered tool. This partnership will be a key solving increasingly complex algorithm and problems. However, this will always need human direction to be truly effective. Right now, AI in development is great at automation repetitive tasks, speeding up the code generation, suggestion improvement, and even optimizing the certain process. But as AI evolves, it's likely to go beyond simple automation, and I believe this will soon happen. It takes more complex context and sensitive challenges. For example, future AI might be able to analyze the entire code base. Actually, this exists. I'm gonna spoil this, but anyway. So we're having our CEO and CTO in here. So they give us the API key for OpenAI. So, and we're having credit with a lot of money, so we can do something. So this is what I'm saying, that having enough analyze the entire code base and suggest optimization. We are working on one of the projects. We're having GitLab hosted on the house. So we are working on a prototype, me and a few guys here in the audience, where you as a non-technical team member would go and raise issue in the GitLab. So in the beginning of the year, we had this hackathon, and our solution was called Aladdin. And this is the prototype that we're working on, is a continuous for Aladdin, so it's called Abu. So you would create an issue, and you have in the title, Abu, go find me this green button and change it to be pink, as a simple example, because it's meant to be used by non-techie business analytics or project manager or something like that. So Abu will do on the fly, he will go through the entire project because these non-technical guys has no clue what is going on, how to fix a button or change its color from red to pink or green to pink. And Abu would reply to the same issue for a confirmation within a comment, and once you confirm it, Abu will go and raise a merge request with the changes to be approved. So this is something is actually useful. So instead of having this project manager or any other non-techie come up for you to waste your time, like 30 or 60 minutes of your time, just like go and try. It might be doing something for you instead of me, actually. This collaboration will be especially important as AI tools become more capable of handling this complex problem, as I said. I might be one day able to stimulate the entire development environment. I do believe there's something similar to this right now in AWS. But no matter how sophisticated AI becomes, it will still require human oversight to ensure that the solution is proposed are appropriate, ethical, and aligned with the business broader goals. For any of you who was following, have you noticed that there is some huge problem that happened recently with Microsoft updates? Yeah. The blue death screen. Have you seen that in the news? I believe you all did. Did you know some of these Windows updates caused of killing at least 1,000 persons in hospitals? Because at the time, they're only working close by the nurses, and the nurses has no idea how to update the kernel or how to pull the latest update for Windows. They was working to save these patients, and because of that system went off, so they had no more oxygen, and that caused like thousands of people death. If we would automate anything of this without any kind of human contribution, or need to review on this before put it out, are we going to say this was done by AI, or are we going to say this was done by a human being that caused? So the ethical part here for me is way too important. One of the challenges, that is developer will face balancing control over AI tool with trust. Exactly the same problem with Windows updates. Could that be done by AI, or could it be done by the help with AI? But I do not trust it to do it. It's about like working with junior developer. The example I gave was excellent and following instructions and can complete tasks efficiently, but need to guidance and direction from experienced team member. As AI evolves, it will become more increasingly important for developers to maintain their adaptability. Artificial intelligence tools is here to stay. This is not trends, will come and go. This is something will evolve, will be smarter, will be bigger, will be required by every single one. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much. We're going to go for the question and answers. So let's start with the question. Are there any questions in the audience? Do we have any questions? Remember, you get a gift if you ask a question. There you go, we got one over there. See, the gift is a good incentive.
Before you ask the question, tell me the truth. You want to ask a question and you want the gift?
No,
okay,
I was
I'm
interested
kidding.
In the answer.
Yeah.
So how would you see AI-generated code from copyright perspective? Who actually owns that piece of code? Is it the company who, or is it?
Can you bring the microphone a little bit closer?
Yeah, could you be a bit louder, please?
Yeah, how do you see AI-generated code from copyright perspective? Who actually owns that piece of code?
Oh, this is a good question. There's some debate that those who pre-find the prompts. So when I asked this question to one of my colleagues, he said you would be having a prompt You write it very bad, you copy it and change it and paste it in a new chat. You say, hey, redefine this prompt for me. Then you go back and put it so it gives you some code that generated. I think it's the developer. The reason is why I'm telling you. You remember back before AI, what we all do, just like go crawling Stack Overflow. And it was most of the time funny in that when you see in younger generation that less experience, and I saying, I found this code in Stack Overflow, but it's not working. And you ask it the question, did you copy it from the question or from the answer? So you are owning what you're doing, because whenever a bug is raised, it is raised to you, it's not to AI. Most of the developers just like go and copy and paste, but others are actually just like need some idea or have an idea how to do it, or know how to do it, but don't want to waste the time. Because let's be honest, if we want to write a huge class with a lot of methods, that could take me like 30 minutes, but with AI it could take me like, I don't know, like less than a minute. I mean, at maximum. But it was done by me. It was just like helping me generate it. So I didn't open the chat and wait, thinking about I want this code to be generated and he will do it for me. So I believe it's still me, because you're gonna be the one who's responsible for maintaining it. I mean, yeah, I'm not Elon Musk. I don't have enough credibility or privilege to say, mark my word, this is gonna destroy us in whatever years. But yeah, it's still by us doing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have another question? Over there.
Yeah, hi, thank you for the speech. Just kind of random question. Would you think that the tool that you talked about, that something similar will be a common thing as an internal tool in the companies, as we had also the Samsung incident where they breached some security things and so on? Yeah. So would you think that it will be like a common thing or not?
Yeah, this is where I say still need human, where you need the last slide that I talked about, that control and trust. So we all know, some of us did it at least one, that whereas you have API key that push to GitHub that is available for everyone. It was 5 years ago, someone did it and he started yelling and screaming and crying on Twitter that he pushed his API key and AI role for one of the AWS services, and he received a bill for $13,000. It is what you are going to feed it, and should be, I don't want to say like control, but it should be, there should be enough knowledge from the company itself on how the employers using these tools. So there is some tools that could be built in the house that could be helping you. So if you know it is hosted on your own, you are good to go. But if I'm feed it to, I have no idea. I don't trust open sources, to be honest, because I have no idea. There is NPM registry that when we heard that one day it's stealing some of the data and you don't know about it because it's still open source. So there should be a control of what could be used, it should be not be used. It's not just like a toy that could be used. It could be dangerous. I mean, how far could it be dangerous than you, hold a second. How far could it be dangerous than I need Nike Air Jordan by tomorrow and I want it to be around 200 euros and 150 euro. I do guarantee today at night when I will open any of my social media, I will have some of the ads on my phones that for Nike Air Jordan or something like that. It's, sorry? Okay. So it's still need control. It's still in control. It is useful. This is where you need to decide where to put the AI and where not to use it. So yeah.
Okay. Do we have more questions here in the audience? Yes, there's one over there.
I'm interested how AI will change the software development technology and environment. If we take like software development in the 60s, we were programming with these cards paper, and then in 80s, 2000, and if we take the last, let's say mobile phone, Apple appeared with iPhone, how it changed it and extremely changed it in recent years. So with AI, we're getting much more of code written, extremely much more. So what do you think, how it will change the whole technology?
Radically it will change. I recently watched the Nevada CEO. Did anyone of you watch this? Did you? Yeah? No? So the Nevada CEO, he was standing on the stage and there was at least 10 robots that was behind him. And then there's 2 more robots that came to the stage. So in total there was 12 robots. The CEO of Amazon, he said, we no longer need programmers and developers. I think AI will radically change and will be way better, fast, intelligent by its own, without the human involvement. However, we as a human being, we're not that fast as AI is being trained. So AI is there and we are still here trying to catch what is going on here. We're just like we have no idea what is already happening. So it's like, I'm seeing this like visiting the US, visiting Europe, and visiting Africa, you know? We are still human here and there, but they're absolutely having different things. The technology is provided in Japan. I haven't heard of, but there's something insane that they have that we don't have. So I believe AI will radically change the code to the better way, but it will be still needs to be under control because we have no idea, honestly, where this will go. But in our development life cycle, it will not that play a huge role. It will be very useful tool that is required. So I honestly been seeing job description that is, you must know AI or at least how to work with AI. So this is something that we need to adapt or how to cope. There is this one phrase says, we often scary of things that we don't understand. So as our role is just like know how these things work and how to cope with it. So yeah, changing things will change fast. Where it will go, I have no idea. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have any more questions in the audience? There's one over there.
One there.
And there's another one here. Okay. I'll start with that one. Over there, behind you.
From your perspective, what's the best AI tool right now for like day-to-day coding or something like that? And does it make sense to run LLM locally and build something just for you?
If you wanna, to the previous question, if you wanna understand how things is going, yes, it is better to at least understand, and again, because it's just like fun to build things, why not? It costs you nothing, just like pull it and run it. Which AI tools I do improve it based on what you wanna to achieve. If it's code based, I do highly recommend having this built in tools within the IDEs like JetBrains or VS Code or whatever, because see, all the questions are pretty all connected, because if we're having, for example, VS Code, it's a very lightweight editor, but it does have extension with ChatGPT. It works the following, so you go and have an OpenAI account you're creating to pay for a payful account. You go and you pull the API key, you put it in the VS Code extension, it gives you what you want. But any idea where this is actually going behind the scene? I have no clue. So I do not trust this. If I want something that I struggle with, or at least I have idea, but I'm not sure how to pull it all together related to the project requirement, to the plan that I want to do. So I just like go to the ChatGPT. I don't want to actually something similar. Actually, within the company, we're having a few chatbots that build in on different contexts and the aspects of the instrument, services, products, and the company itself. So yeah, having built in the house is, it's not like saver, but at least, how to say it? Mitigating the risk that what could happen or where that is going. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we have one last question over here. And remember, for the people who ask the questions on Discord, you can always meet all of the speakers right outside. They'll be here all day, and you can ask them the questions over there. Okay? So one last question over here.
Sure.
Thank you, Mahmoud, for the presentation. I have a question. Like, we are on a tech conference here, and for sure AI and everything is clear, something for all of us here. But I mean, there are zillions of businesses over there that still don't use any AI or don't have any practices of using AI, neither in their small software development or in daily running of business. So what obstacles do you see there, and what can be that turning point when AI will be adopted by most of the non-tech businesses over there?
It's a competition. So if I do care about the market and my business, and I do need to compete it with others in the markets as well, if they are using AI to improve their work, their process in the business, in the development itself, so I will be not one step behind, but 10 steps behind. Others are not using, and I do guarantee this, I mean, anyone can debate with me, but others, organization that is not using it even for their personal projects because they do not understand it. If I have no idea how this is work, I will just be honest, be terrified because I don't know how it works. So whether they want to some kind of economic, not paying, so to use these tools, at least they have to have invested the time so they can have their own. So there is open sources that could be used without paying any kind of money, but at least use it. So if the company came out, say, with a feature that is required to be by their consumers, like 6 months before you, and you still need at least 1 year to get done with this feature, so there is something that is happening wrong. So yeah, it's the obstacle is you're gonna be way behind the market, and if you wanna stay competitive with others, so you need to cope with the market. Because yeah, as I mentioned, AI is not here, is here to stay. It's not a trend that yeah, we're using AI and tomorrow it will go away. No, it actually will radically change the landscape itself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.